Hi, my name is Mike, also known as Vapian on the ECF forums, and Bloog recently had an interesting thread in their forum about coming up with an easy way for people who are visually impaired or blind to fill a cartomizer. I took this as a challenge and tried to come up with a procedure that was easy, didn't take too long, and didn't make too much of a mess. I got to the point where I could perform this procedure in about 2 minutes while blindfolded. Unfortunately, it takes a lot longer to explain it so that you understand why you're doing what you're doing, so let's get on with it. Alright, I'm sitting at a table now with the materials that we're going to use for this fill procedure in front of me. Let me describe what I have. In front of me right now are 2 paper towels. I've got one on the left, one on the right, about shoulder width apart, more or less where my hands are going to fit the table. That's just so they're convenient and easy to get to should we need them. Between the 2 paper towels I have an empty cartomizer with the rubber cap still on it. I have a standard 5 milliliter syringe with a blunt tip needle. 16 or 18 gauge will do, 20 is going to be too narrow. And this particular needle is about 1.5 inches long. But we're not going to use this syringe quite the way you might be expecting. The next item I have is a bottle for my e-liquid. Now the bottle I have here is not a standard e-liquid bottle. This is a medicine bottle that I happen to have sitting around. It's about 2 inches wide, about 3 inches tall with the cap on. It has a tight fitting cap that is spill proof. I can turn this bottle of liquid upside down and nothing comes out. And has the advantage of also being a child-proof cap. It wouldn't have to be a medicine bottle or even child-proof necessarily. It could be any bottle-type container with a tight-fitting cap that you can find that's at least a couple of inches wide, not too tall, and seals well so that you don't spill your fluids, and the size makes it sit on the table very easily and less likely to be knocked over. Very important feature that this bottle should have: with the cap off, the mouth of the bottle should be just about as big around as the bottle itself. That big mouth on this bottle makes it easy to transfer your new e-liquids into it, makes it easy to clean out if you need to, and it's going to be big enough to make the procedure that we're going to follow here a little bit easier. The last item that I have in front of me is my battery that we will put the cartomizer on after we have it filled. So, a couple of paper towels, cartomizer, 5 milliliter syringe, blunt tip needle, 1.5 inches long, 16 or 18 gauge, bottle of e-liquid, short, kind of broad, big mouth, and a spill-proof cap, and a battery. Let's go ahead and go through this. First thing to do is to find the cartomizer and pull the rubber caps off of both ends. I'm going to set the cartomizer down for the moment. Pick up my syringe. Now the idea here is that we are not going to use the syringe to fill a cartomizer in the usual way. We're going to hold the syringe vertically, straight up and down, needle pointing towards the table, and we're going to pull the plunger out of that syringe so the top is open. Pick up the cartomizer, find the mouthpiece end with your finger, find that silicone mouthpiece, and drop it into the syringe. So battery sides up, mouthpiece is down inside the syringe. I'm going to pick up the plunger, reinsert it into the syringe, and push it down just enough until I feel it hit the cartomizer. And what we've done there is created a space at the upper part of the syringe as we're holding it right now that's going to allow us to draw some fluid up into the syringe and soak into that cartomizer. I'm going to set the syringe down now and grab my bottle of e-liquid. I'm going to hold it against the table with one hand just to try and prevent knocking it over and spilling. Open the lid and set it in front of my work area so it's not in my way. Continuing to hold this bottle of e-liquid down so that we don't spill it, I'm going to pick up my syringe, drop my syringe, pick it back up again, use my pinky to slide down that needle until I find the tip of that blunt needle, and then use the same pinky to find the edge of the bottle. And insert the needle into the bottle all the way to the bottom where that juice is. Kind of keep track of where that bottle is. grab the plunger. You want to lift up on it slowly, and once you hit the limit, before you would actually pull it out of the syringe, you want to count to about 5 or 10, depending on how patient you are. And that's going to allow the suction we've created to draw some e-liquid into the syringe and surround the cartomizer a little bit. Now this is only going to bring in about maybe half a mil. It kind of depends on how thick your e-liquid is. So what I do at this point is grab my bottle, slide it forward a little bit so it's out of my work area, pick up a paper towel, wipe the needle tip off, point the needle to the sky, and very slowly push up on that plunger. Now you might have a few drops of liquid come out, but you just want to push up enough until you can feel the cartomizer hit. Now grab your paper towel again and wipe off around the syringe. And that will get rid of anything that you might have pushed out. The idea here is to create another volume for us to expand, create a vacuum, and bring more liquid up. So now I'm going to turn the syringe so the needle is pointing down again. Carefully reach forward and find my bottle of e-liquid, bring it into my work area again. Slide my pinky down the blunt needle till I find the tip. Use my pinky to find the edge of the mouth of the bottle. Stick it all the way back down to the bottom again. Draw my plunger up. Count for about 5 or 10. Now at this point, you should have brought in enough e-liquid to cover that cartomizer anywhere from about halfway to maybe all the way. Depends again on the bore of your needle and how thick that e-liquid is. If you want, you can repeat that procedure again. Your syringe, once it has fluid in there to saturate your cartomizer, you can either assume that the suction inside there has drawn fluid up into the cartomizer, or you can set it down and do something else for 5 or 10 minutes to give it time to really soak in there. And that's kind of an advantage to do that, just in case you didn't get a syringe full of fluid in that 3-cycle process of bringing fluid in and getting the excess air out. I'm going to go ahead and wipe down this needle tip one more time. Now, once you've let it soak, or you're fairly certain that this cartomizer is going to have all the fluid it's going to get in it, set the syringe aside, bring your e-liquid bottle back into the work area, uncap it, set your lid out of the work area, pick up your syringe while holding the e-liquid bottle. Once again, use your pinky to find the end of that blunt tip needle. Find the edge of the bottle, and you want to insert the needle into the bottle, but not all the way down to the bottom again. We want to hear what's going on with this needle and the fluid that's inside the syringe. And you want to hold the syringe at an angle of about 30 or 45 degrees. That will prevent the silicone tip of the cartomizer from creating a seal around where the needle comes out of the syringe, and basically creating an air channel through the cartomizer that makes it hard to get fluid out. And you can grab the plunger, push it down until you hear it or feel it hit that cartomizer. Now you can pull the plunger out again, push it down again. You can vary the angle a little bit. You don't want to go too shallow so that you're outside the bottle, but you don't want to go too vertical so that your fluid doesn't actually get around the cartomizer. Now, I repeat this probably 8 or 10 times in the test when I was doing this blindfolded, and it seemed to do a pretty good job. The paper towels that I looked at afterwards did not have a whole lot of juice on them. And once you are hearing just air coming out of that needle, you probably got as much juice out of the syringe as you're going to get. So set it aside onto a paper towel. Make sure you got a firm hold on your e-liquid bottle. Find the cap it, get it out of your work area for good. We're not going to be doing anything more with that right now. If you pick up the syringe, hold the syringe vertically, needle pointing down towards the table, pull the plunger out, and set it on one of your paper towels. Now you're holding the syringe, needle down, open side up. Grab another paper towel, hold it in one hand, kind of cup it in your palm a little bit, and take this syringe, tilt the open side of the syringe down towards the paper towel, and sort of rattle the syringe a bit until you can feel with your thumb that the cartomizer has come out of the opening. You grab the cartomizer between your thumb and your palm, set the syringe body over next to the plunger, and make sure you do that on a paper towel so if there's fluid that still comes out of the body of the syringe, it goes on the towel, not your table. Now you've got the cartomizer in the paper towel right now, so go ahead and wipe it off. Fold the paper towel up, give it a blow through or two to get out any excess juice. So now you can take your cartomizer, screw it onto the battery, and see if it's filled. Was I right or was I right? That did take a long time to explain, and I'm sorry about that, but I wanted to make sure that I explained every little step in detail and explain why we were using, what we were using, and how it was used, so that when you try this for the first time, it just increase your chances of success. Like any other procedure, you can modify this any way you want to fit the way that you're organized or the way that you work. Just make it work for you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find it useful, and who knows, maybe I'll see you again later here on YouTube. Take care.